everybody. It's 5:30, so I'm going to call a meeting to order. Let's start with, first off, can everybody hear me on the Zoom call? Okay. Thank you. And if we can call the meeting to order, let's do a roll call. I guess we're all here. Can I get a motion to open the meeting?
I motion.
Thank you. I'll second. Okay, good. And so the invocations, Scott, if you'll do the invocations.
Sure.
Please.
Sure. Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are. We just thank you for wonderful creation that we get to enjoy this time of year, and just a reflection of your beauty and your greatness. And so we thank you for that. We pray, Lord, for our community with the loss of Bob. And so we pray for the Allman family and Myra especially. Thank you that your word says you're close to the brokenhearted. And so we just pray you comfort her and the family as only you can and be with them through this time. We pray now, Lord, that you just bless this meeting. We recognize we need you for wisdom, for grace, and so help us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. And Ralph, if you'll do the Pledge of Allegiance to start us out, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
One second.
Thank you. All in fact, all agree? Aye.
Aye.
Did you have a roll call? Yes.
No, you never had
Well, you know, we're in person, we have to do that actually. So. The approval, can I get a motion please for the approval of the September 8th, 2022 council meeting minutes? They should be in your packet.
I'm here somewhere.
I make a motion to approve the September 8th, 2022 council meeting minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. All in fact, all in agreement? Aye. Thank you. Next, we're going to go to the approval of the September 19th, 2022 special meeting minutes. I need a motion to approve those minutes, if they're correct.
I make a motion to approve the September 19th, 2022 minutes.
Thank you.
One second.
Thank you. All in agreement? Aye. Aye. Thank you. The presentation of the financial and the tax report. Okay.
The taxes for this month was $26,253.23. And then I'm sure y'all had a chance to look over all of the financials already, trying to see if there's anything. We did get the paving done this month, but we haven't paid for that yet. We haven't gotten a bill. We did get the SCADA put in, and we paid for that out of the water fund. And I think
That's good.
yeah.
Does the financial officer have anything to add?
No.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to accept the financials?
We don't have to do that.
We don't have to do that, okay. Moving on, request for public comment. Is there anybody who'd like public comment? If you raise your hand on the Zoom camera, and we have a sign-up sheet here if you'd like to sign in. Is there anybody for public comment on the Zoom?
I don't see anybody.
No?
There's one person here.
Yeah, but I just signed up in case I want to make a comment at the end for the second public comment area.
Okay. Then let's move on to old business. I want to report on the lease of a Robbinsville tool for water line identification. You have in your packet the interlocal agreement that was drawn up by our legal team. And I'd like to have a discussion on this. Time is of the essence with this. if you've had a chance to review it, I've got a few more bits of information to share, and we hopefully can get this agreement agreed on and over to the Robbinsville Town Council's office, and then they will look at it and send it to their town attorney, and hopefully by their November 7th meeting, we'll be able to have a binding contract.
It says something that it would be paid $250 a week, but spread over so many months, so that's only 1 week a month.
Exactly. This is what Scott and I have talked about this. He thought that this would be how he was going to set this into his schedule. You want to speak on it? Go right ahead.
Yeah, so just over the winter, instead of trying to jam it all in when other things come up, if we just did 1 week a month, so 1 week in November, December, January, February, then that would give me time to do any prep work or whatever in between each time. And we really don't know how long it's going to take. It may take 2 weeks, 3. I mean, but I think 4 is going to get us what we can get. I think so, but it might take longer than that. But I mean, we've never done this. I don't know. But the more that we can have kind of prepped ahead, the less time him and I are going to have to be prepping, so we can actually be using the machine majority, like most of the time he's here.
Okay, do we have an hourly rate on him yet?
Yeah, I have an update on that. The agreement with me speaking with the Robbinsville Alderman and the mayor was that we would pay for the employee they send, and with his benefits and his insurances, which is going to stay in Robbinsville. But that money adds up to about $35 an hour. So we have calculated that to be approximately $500 a week. So it could be, if we were to add to this contract, that we would pay up to a certain amount per week for this person's salary. Well, it would be a total of $1,000 by the time he's done for all 4 weeks. But
So
right
we're looking
now,
at what, $2,000 total?
$1,000 total for them to send their employee, and $1,000 total for us to rent the machine.
So, okay, 2,000 is the max that we would.
No.
So 35 times 40 is 1,400.
Well, I think it's $1,000 per week for him, right, Connie? And plus and we figured it'd be about $5,500 would be what we're thinking that the max would be.
The total expense to get this project done, about $5,500.
Yeah. We're thinking, if he worked, what you figuring, 6 hours a day?
Yeah, because I don't think we need him 8 hours, because I'll have to record things and I'll have to do things. So 6 hours a day, at the most 5 days a week, is $1,000 a week. So if we did all 4 weeks, that's $4,000 plus the $1,000 for the machine. So figure the most it would be at that would be $5,500.
But we have a budget for more than that.
Well, I think the $5,500 gave us a little bit of leeway. If we, wasn't that right?
Right, that's what we're trying to ballpark it, and it's hard to know the unknowns because this is in the future.
And it might take longer than what we're thinking too.
It could.
And it might not take as long.
Right. So that's where I'm at with this. What do you all think? Tina, have you looked at the contract?
I did read the agreement.
Yeah,
I did look
at
at
it too.
Yeah, I read the
Okay.
You know,
And,
Scott, does it do a mapping or anything like that? Or?
No, so what it'll do is I've got some of those big maps just like in there. And then, and so what we'll do is I'll put those valves on there accurately. And then that's where I'll need some prep time is when Chad or whoever they send out with the equipment, I'll have set parts for that day to try to get done. And I'd say some stretches will go really fast. And some stretches like the front entrance or where there's a lot of pipe, that's where it's going to bog down and I don't know the time. So, but then I'll just have to record those on the on that map, on that plat. And then, and that should get us something, hopefully. I mean, it'll be better than what we have for sure, but so.
There's going to be things we're going to have to learn, and that we'll have to work out details and figure it out. This hasn't been done before. It's a new program for us, but I think it could be successful. I'm looking forward to having or water pipes found, at least general locations. So,
So we go over the machine, it's kind of like a lawnmower type of machine, and then you'll find a line. Will you spray it then and then go back and report?
We can spray it in the various areas. Yeah, we'll have spray paint. We'll, and then with him, because my goal is going to be to get as much with him. It's like a lawnmower, but it's sonar reading into the ground, and then he reads the graph, and and then I'll mark it, and then we'll do that, and then I'll come back and record it on the ground, and potentially even mark things on the physical. Put like pins or something here or there so that we know where they are. But
we've got a lot of old lines from the old water system that are running along. Is it going to pick those up too? Or?
So when we did, so the machine that the town has is the same technology as what we had demoed here. And when they demoed it at the front entrance, and then they demoed it over by kind of the Hutzels, just after the Hutzels, they demoed a few areas. And so there we could kind of see, how accurate it was and this and that. And it did pretty good at picking. They could tell from the imaging the difference between the old pipe, because it's 2-inch, and the new pipe. And we actually dug it up. The accuracy is questionable how accurate it is. Most of it seems pretty good, but that's going to be kind of one of the factors is because it's in the ground, you can't. Short of digging it up like I did with Jack, we won't know, but I think it'll be close enough to get.
And I think the accuracy will get a little bit better because we were concentrating on just one area rather than multiple readings. So if we get multiple readings, we should be able to basically pull the line. But we were just working off the one reading on the 6-inch pipe and the one reading on the 2-inch pipe.
Yeah, and they read both of those, and we dug them up and found the 2-inch about where they said. It was a little, foot or so off, but so
I thought that was a good idea for them to go and dig that up, see what's actually coming over on the reader on the machine, before we make a decision whether we're going to rent this machine from Robbinsville. And I believe it'd probably be a wise choice to go with this machine.
Our assumptions on where it was and where it actually ended up being was
But it's going to
quite a
be,
surprise.
it's going to be that way no matter what. We have to find a water pipe, so we'll just keep going until we're done. Is there any changes that we want to make with the additions? Now, Bo, I believe, is still on here. Can we add that information about how much money we can offer to subsidize the person they're sending? The hourly rate, somehow or another do a maximum up to the salary of, whatever a week, or how do we want to do that?
Yeah, your payment terms can be whatever you want them to be. You just need to let me know what day, how he's to read, how many he broke the check.
Thank you. So should we do the $35 an hour? Because if he's working 3 hours one day, that's roughly $75 or $100. And if it's all day long, then it's more.
And that's payable to Robbinsville, right?
It will be payable to Robbinsville because they will, yes.
Okay.
And this way, Robbinsville will continue to pay him his salary, his hourly rate, and also all his benefits. And that's where this $35 comes in, because it covers his hourly rate, which we don't know what it is, but it's less than $35 because they've added in the cost of the benefits to accompany it.
So you're going to add that to this contract,
Yes,
add a section?
right.
Just fill in that section, it said a reasonable rate, so we just changed that to, yeah.
To a number, exactly. Because you'll find that on the bottom of the second page, 2.07.
What's the reason for salary?
There it is, okay. Then B. So instead of reasonable salary, we'll change that to a $35 an hour rate for a temporary hire or reimbursement.
So just so I'm clear, the reasonable rate will be changed to $35 an hour.
Yes, sir. Payable to Robbinsville, Town of Robbinsville. Not to the employer, not to the board.
Would you like me to make the change now, put it up on the screen so
Yes,
you guys
sir.
can?
If you would, please, because I'd like for us to agree on this so I can get it over to the other party for them to look at tomorrow.
Well, I would make a motion to accept with that change.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, motion passed. Thank you both. We'll look for that document.
That saves us a lot of money, I think.
It's a tremendous savings, and it's a good start. It's going to get us in the direction we need to be.
When you, if you fix it, Bo, while we're still going, you can screen share. I did.
Okay, moving on now for number 2 under old business, the SCADATA installation. You want to give us an update on that, Scott?
Sure. So the SCADATA was updated with a SCADA system, and so it's a base system that we can add on to in future years. Most towns are having their water systems monitored, it seems, from the little bit I know about it, including like Robbinsville. And so we have the base system that we can go on and do that later on, whereas the prior system we had was outdated. You couldn't add on and all that. So what we have now is the equal. It's actually a little better than what we did have, because now we can control the pump from up at there's a screen up by the water tank now. So I can turn the pump off from up there. I don't have to drive all the way down and turn it off. I can monitor things both ways. So it's already an improvement to what we had, and then and it's buildable. So, but it's working. It's working really well. So.
Thank you for turning it on and off and on and off and on and off and off every day.
Project.
When we had the leak down by our house, we maintained the tank also.
So instead of draining down,
Right.
just get that, if I'm saying it properly, pumped the water back through again. So nobody lost water. Okay, so the old business number 3, the paving process. We have some pictures to put up. And that's the contract that was offered to us. It is within the monies that we had agreed on at our special meeting.
I don't have any payment pictures.
You don't? Okay, I thought I'd sent some. That's
We
fine.
had we do have the ones of the Lake Plymouth, but I didn't get.
Okay, that's fine then.
And the
All right.
water break.
And the water break, okay. So, all right, so the paving process is done. They finished all the areas they spoke about, we signed up for.
All those areas, and they patched the area from the water break. That wasn't on that contract thing, but it was still within what you guys had passed, I believe.
I think it added, what, was it $1,500?
$1,200,
$1,250.
yeah.
So we came in under budget on that.
55,000 something, and we said 56.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. And that's a lot of work that was done.
It was.
Yeah, we were able to find all the areas that needed improvement and get them repaired. So I believe we're in good shape. The signage for the exit gate. Okay, several things have come up with this exit gate business. The gate has, at one time, a couple weeks back, got stuck and wouldn't open. And Scott was able to get up there and open it. There's a couple different things. We had some signage put up because a lot of people we thought weren't pulling all the way up to the exit gate close enough for it to open. So the signage is now in place telling you to come a little closer. There was a whoop detector on the post, but it wasn't functioning. It wasn't hooked up. Something had come apart. And we don't know how long that wasn't working. And a whoop detector is for an emergency vehicle, has a siren that whoop, 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 it'll open the gate. And there's only 2 in this North Carolina area that have a whoop detector, us, and I believe Fontana has one. So EMS was notified, and EMS dispatched, and I'll have the code to open the gate. They have they know about the whoop detector. All the people have been dispatched that know that if they are stuck behind or trying to get in, they give them the code. People have asked to put the code and make it public, but in a kind of thinking back and forth with this. I don't think that's a good idea. Workers would want to save the distance of travel. They may open the gate just to go in and out, or it might get misused. So I don't think we need to have the code as a public number.
What do we do in case of
Okay,
emergency?
so what
Not
we're-
at an EMS truck, but
Yes, so what we're doing,
Sunday nights.
exactly. So what we are trying to work out is we've been in contact with the company out of Murphy who is going to come and take a closer look at our gate opener. There's maybe some things that are wearing out. It's been there for a long time, so it's starting to malfunction. It's going to malfunction. It's a mechanical thing. You've got to expect that. But we haven't had maintenance on it, so we've asked somebody to come. Did we get a call back from him yet?
Yeah, he doesn't think he'll make it tomorrow, but if not, he said it'll be Saturday.
Okay. So we'll have somebody out here Saturday to go through all the equipment, fine tune it, and possibly we'll replace some parts. We'll see what it needs. But it cannot stay closed. We have to keep it open until we can get repairs done if necessary. There is something called a transistor or transactor that if you're coming through, it picks up your car. We think that might be starting to fail. So that could be what the problem could be. So we will look into it and have it remedied. And also, too, if you want to put my phone number up there, they're welcome to call me and I'll run up and try to figure it out.
Jim, something kind of, I don't know if it was with this gate or the one up top, that it needed a replacement. Maybe it was the solar, something about solar power?
That's solar.
Solar, and
One
they try to
on
make
top.
it
That's solar up there.
and it's going to cost too much to keep that gate operating. We replaced the circuit board on that a few years ago.
Yeah, so I don't really know much about the gate thing, but if it's helpful to you get, just to be aware is that Yelp thing, like the EMS, because Nancy brought up, Townsend had brought up a good thing. I hadn't thought about that. I can get here, but it's going to take time. And so the issue was, could an ambulance get trapped in? And so, just so you are aware, when I asked and right away, Kim let dispatch know the code. But even outside of that, when I talked to emergency services, they knew already that we had a Yelp. And so they already, and when somebody calls 911, if it's a regular emergency, they're going to obey all the traffic laws. But if it's a stroke, if they know it's toward the end of the gate, when the person answers the phone, he knows or she knows that. And she's going to ask, or he'll ask and say, is it faster for us to go backwards? So to me, that was a big comfort. We have a lot of elderly folks, and so to know that the emergency services here seem to be really on top of it. So in that regard. But as regard to the gate, when I called the gate guy, he seemed to right away think it was a module. But he's going to come out and look at it, like I said, either tomorrow or Saturday. And if we have to replace the, because I don't know if with newer cars it's not picking up magnet. I don't know what it is, but we'll get it figured out and get it working again.
That's what we got to do. Yeah. And I did get some feedback with Nancy Townsend because she notified me that there was a problem. And I told her we'll work on it right away, and I was back and forth with her a couple times on the email, and she's thanked me tremendously for bringing it to come to a conclusion, finding an answer. So I thank her for bringing that to our attention, because if Mrs. Townsend hadn't spoke up, we may not have known that the Yelp detector had been disconnected or something, not functioning. We may not have known if a transistor or whatever that thing isn't functioning. So thank you, Mrs. Townsend, if you're listening. I appreciate your input. You have something quick on that?
Yeah, I put a Yelp siren on the Polaris that I bought from the town. So may I suggest that, not me, but the mayor, once a month or so, go up and test the siren with the gate.
I'd love to Yelp, I'll make it work. But we'll have regular maintenance on this too, so it shouldn't be an issue. It should
But anyways,
stay
just
up.
so you know, it's there if you want to use it.
We can open the gate with the Polaris. Okay, so now the next thing is that's number 4 on old business. Let's move to new business number 1. Report on the use of ARPA funds and the admin software. Kim's going to give us that.
So I was able to go to a class in Greensboro a few weeks ago on the ARPA funds, which was very, very helpful. I went So we had originally thought we would use the funds to buy the SCADA or something for water, a new automatic read thing for Scott. But in order to do that, we would have had to have gone through the procurement process, which would have meant that it had to go out to bid. We only got $13,000, so, you know, to send that much money out to bid would kind of be, I mean, it cost us more to put it in the paper and all that. So they are recommending that anyone that got like 10 million or under to use it as like income replacement or revenue replacement. So we can take that $13,000 and use it as revenue replacement. And they say put it in salaries, and then you take that $13,000 back out, and you can use it however you want to. So we can use it to pave the roads, we can use it to do the water. I spoke with, I talked to Tina, and then I talked to Shannon, and we're going to figure out how we need to do that with our budget so that we can use the funds that way, and it's the reporting is much less to do that. And I sent slides out. I don't know if y'all looked at those or not, but I was very glad that I went to it. I will have to change the reporting that I did in April, that we are going to take it as revenue replacement. But I think it'll be much better for the town to do it, a whole lot easier for us to do that. So I hope y'all agree with me on that. And I also went to sit with Joy at Clyde and went over the new Edmonds software. And it looks great. The water's it's all gonna flow over. It's gonna communicate with the program for Edmonds. Writing checks, the do from. It looks like it's splitting all that out for us, so we don't have to manually do that. It just looks like it's going to be a much better system. And she told me, she said they would have to pay me to switch from Edmonds. So it made me feel a lot better. That we have started the process, and when it first came over, they asked for our account numbers, our chart of accounts. And so we don't really have numbers by our account number. So I was like, Tina, do you have any idea what this means? And so we emailed Joy, and she sent us her chart of accounts, and all it is just everyone's got an assigned number. You can't do that in QuickBooks, but you can in accounting, and or in this Edmonds. And once I looked at that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I know what she's talking about now. So their budgeting looks a lot like what we do. She printed out her budget to actual, and that report looks a lot the same, but it's just going to be where ours with QuickBooks. I can't really tell you the due to, due from. It doesn't split it out because it looks like it's all coming from general, which when we get into the audit, and we should get a draft on that pretty soon, we're going to see where some of that due to, due from has made a difference in our previous audit compared to what it's going to look like now, restructuring just a little bit. But it was a really good workshop. I learned a lot, and it was good to go to it.
Thank you so much for going.
Yeah.
And with the ARPA, they had put out final instructions, and they put out final.
It keeps
so,
changing.
Yeah. So we think that you went to the one that was the final, and hopefully
Well,
they won't
they-
change it
yeah.
anymore, but they might. But
Right
so
now,
you
they're
got
saying
the
it
latest
is.
up-to-date information when you went. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, and they're very helpful. And they gave me lots of names of people that I can call to help if we need help, like structuring how we're going to spend that, or to redo my report. So it was good. Made lots of contacts. So one lady I was sitting by, I told her we got $13,000, and she was like, what? And she said, you need to go ask for more. Well, I said, well, I'd love to, but it goes off population, so I don't think they're going to give me any more. But it was good. It was a really good meeting.
Well, thank you for that. That's
Then she's going to training.
Yeah, that was going to come up at the end, but I'll say it now. We are sending Kim and Emily both to training in Raleigh, the 24th. It was actually on my calendar, on my list here. The 24th and 25th, which is a Monday and a Tuesday. They're going to Raleigh for this course on Edmonds, and we're going to close the office the 24th and the 25th. The 24th is a Monday. On their way over there, they're going to stop in Clyde, hopefully, and sit with Joy once again. I don't know if you've worked out those details yet, but we talked about it. And they'll be able to hands-on it with her in her office and then go on to the conference.
And Emily hasn't seen it yet either.
Yeah, so Emily will be hands-on with it because she hasn't had opportunity. But we will just close the office for those 2 days. But the phone can be transferred, more about those details.
Yeah, and even sitting with Joy, she told me before I even went into the ARPA, like the training, she said, oh, you can claim that as revenue replacement. And she had talked to the surrounding towns and they're all doing that. So I mean, I learned a lot just from sitting with her. And the reports that we've got to do that will be on the agenda next month that we need to, or we need to approve. It's just a little bit too quick for me to get everything out for everybody to read. So it's very helpful.
Thank you for coming.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I did not get copies of
Okay.
that. Did you get a
Next
copy
on.
of closed session minutes?
Okay, here is, okay, so moving on then to number 2 under new business. So the approval of closed session minutes, this needs action.
What are the dates? And
Here they are here. This is what is just some old closed session minutes back from 2019 that need to be finished up, voted on so that they can be closed and we can put them in a book.
And then they'll be open for public records.
They are.
I think you have to vote to open them to public, but there's nothing in those that looking at pending.
There's nothing in there to jeopardize any ongoing cases or anything, so these are old notes, old minutes. Here's a list if you have that, but there's a list of the dates that are actually looking at those minutes.
Yeah, it's very old.
I
guess it's just a decision.
No, we didn't know if we could approve them in an open meeting, we didn't want to do a
Oh.
closed session, but we can do them in an open meeting. Yeah, you can. We don't have to do. That ain't good.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
It's fire,
Rescue.
fire rescue.
I found that the rescue guys show up sooner than the EMS.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That's 'cause they're
So-
closer. EMS comes from Graham County,
Yeah.
Robbinsville.
Yeah.
But they're all trained for immediate response, so.
I guess that's it, at least.
Mhm.
Oh, well, these were 19s from 19.
You had a chance to read them. I did. Did you? Did you need to go? Yeah, 'cause they won't. Yeah.
Bo, can I ask you a question while they're looking at those? I think we can't approve those as a group,
Yeah.
but how do they need to make that motion? It's been a while since we did anything like that, instead of going through each one.
Did you ask Bo that question?
Yeah, can you hear me, Bo?
There's a type name for it.
You may not be able to hear me.
Can you hear her, Bo?
Yeah, ask it again, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you said. I think we can approve all those minutes. There's how many sets of minutes? There's 9 sets of closed session minutes. I think we can approve those all together, but I can't remember what the motion is to close to.
Is there a phrase or something we use, language we use?
Instead of having to go through 9 sets of
Can we make a motion just and say all the dates? Like I make a motion to approve the closed session minutes of October, June, July. So can I do that?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fine with me as long as you can identify what they are and be sure to note in the minutes what you voted on and approved.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the closed session minutes of October 22nd, 2019, December 10th, 2019, February 11th, 2020, April 30th, 2020, May 14th, 2020, June 11th, 2020, June 17th, 2020, July 19th, 2020, July 27th, 2020, September 16th, 2020, November 12th, 2020, January 14th, 2021, July 8th, 2021, September 9th, 2021, October 26th, 2021, and March 10th, 2022. To make a motion to approve
I'll second.
all the minutes.
Thank you. Can I get a vote?
Aye. Are you going to have to stamp each one individually for approval?
Who signs these? Because
It has your name on there.
I should sign it. So,
That's fine.
honor.
Do we need to make another motion to make them available for the public?
But it automatically goes into the book. There are many. They're automatically.
No, I think you have to approve to release them if you want to make them public. If you want to do that, if y'all want to make them public. That's how we've done it in the past. I don't know.
There's nothing that frustrates them being held back.
Motion to make these approved minutes public.
I'll second that.
I approve. I vote.
Is there a vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. All right, good, thank you. Next is the audit update on number 3 under new business. Kim, you've been working with Shannon in the audit, and Tina has some input possibly too, so.
She's requested a lot. The first audit takes a little bit longer because she's get familiar with the way we do things. And then she's going back to and checking last year and comparing it to this year and all that. So we've always submitted the audit by October 31st. And but she told me you automatically get 30 days. So it doesn't have to be submitted until November. And she said by state law she has to present the audit. So she's planning to do that in November. I was hoping to have a draft by today, but she said that she would have it to me soon. So I know, I'm sure she'll explain that she's having to do some adjustments between water and general that come up from last year from the purchase of the property up top. And they just asked a lot of questions about how we do things. So we've sent her, I've got a stack of paper like this that I've scanned in to her for the audit. So they are working on it, and hopefully we'll have it next week. And as soon as we do, I'll send it out to you guys. She's hoping to get it submitted by the end of October, maybe November.
And I understand it's a little different than in the past. It goes to the state for approval, and then it comes to us.
It does not have to, the council does not have to approve it, and we've always done that in the past. But she said the council doesn't have to approve it, but the state approves it. So that's different. I know we've always had to hold a special meeting and approve the audit.
Right.
And maybe that's just a town policy, something we've always done before. But she said that is not, you do not have to approve it, but she does, it is state law that she does a presentation on it. So she is going to do that in November by Zoom. She's going to come in by Zoom.
So we're hoping that she'll be at the November meeting.
Yes, she's planning, she wrote it on her calendar, and she is planning to come in by Zoom and present the audit.
Perfect, thank you. All righty, then moving on, if there's no questions about the audit. Board, number 4, board resolution for employees, the 457 plan. When we did our budget, we had made an amendment to have the staff take part in this retirement program. So now what we have in front of us is a resolution that needs to be voted on. And this resolution is basically something that needs to be voted on and provided. It has to go back to the 457
Has to go
plan.
back. Yeah, the guy that I've been working with, and I did check with him. Tina had asked me the question if there was a minimum number of hours that someone has to work to be able to participate in this plan, and there is not. So if Emily can participate in this plan, even a temporary hire could participate. So there is no minimum number of hours. So, and the form is a standard form that he sent, and the other forms, we could have actually just written a letter saying that it was approved with the budget, but
So
we decided to
do we know which employees will participate?
I believe all 3 of you wanted to. Yes? Yes.
So do we not have a cost of what this is going to cost us per year?
We put it in the budget and for a 10% donation from the town, and the employees can donate because it's like a 401k, so they can contribute more. Under the current plan, the town is limited. Yeah, I think 3, right, it's gone up to 3. So we can contribute more.
I understand percentages, but do we have an idea of what this is going to cost the town over, say, the next 12 months?
We budgeted, we put it in the budget, and it is in the budget. We were not able to join in this fiscal year. At the beginning of this fiscal year, we had to wait until January 1st. So on January 1st, this will take effect, and the old plan will be the old plan, and we'll have the new plan. So we actually budgeted enough for the whole fiscal year for the 10% donation for the whole fiscal year. So we'll have really only 6 months of the budget.
Well, we've been only taking out 2% during these periods.
It's up to 3%.
Well, the budget, or, I don't know, your financials said 2%,
Yeah,
so that's
but
just a typo.
it is 3%.
It
Okay.
changed.
Contributing 3%.
It's been budgeted already.
We have $7,000 in the budget to pay this.
In general, and generally there's more.
Is that for,
And then there's-
that's for a whole year?
Yes, sir. And then there's money in the water fund, the 30%, or how you have the numbers going, to contribute also. So it's coming out of both funds. Right now, the general has $7,000 for this, and I don't have the water.
It's about 3.
Probably about 3,
Yeah,
about
it's
33%.
yeah.
So you're talking about $10,000 a year?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Can we afford it?
It's already budgeted.
Well, I know it's budgeted, but that doesn't mean that we can afford it.
But I think we're on budget for everything else. I don't think we've had any major expenses that we have.
Are we ever going to be able to afford doing generator or battery backup or something for the water up on top of the mountain?
The water fund is separate, as you know, we have to do that. And I have a call with Shannon tomorrow, the auditor, and one of the questions I'm going to ask her is when the property that was bought at the top for the town, for the tank, money was taken out of water fund and it was all put in to the general fund, so that capital. So I'm going to ask her if we can either split that out, or since the property is water enterprise, if we can put that back in, and so maybe the general fund could pay back the water fund some money. so that we have more money in the water fund, because the water fund is short.
Yeah.
That, I have a call with Shannon tomorrow about that. But as far as this, we budgeted, we have enough. And we are not set at the 10%. The amount can change, so we don't have to stay at that amount. If there's a really hard year, nobody pays their taxes, and we need to drop it down, that we're able to do that. This gets us in, it's like signing up for an account with the state retirement fund. It's not the pension fund, it's the state retirement fund, like the state 401k. So we can contribute more, we're able to contribute more if we want to, and they're able to contribute, and they're not limited. Like Emily now is part-time, so she can't contribute to the retirement fund. So it allows everyone to be able to contribute, and it allows us to contribute more money for them.
And 10% is maximum?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know that it has, I guess you couldn't claim it, but I don't know about that.
Well, when we were doing the budget, I had preferred an 8%, but I was outvoted.
Like I said, it could change from year to year if the future councils decide they want to go with a lesser amount, or they want to go, if the amounts are allowed to go higher. But a 3% is what we're limited to right now, which doesn't seem to be enough. I personally don't think that's a good enough benefit. So we're talking benefits, and I think this is a good benefit.
Most
And also
companies-
on the
Usually
357,
most
they have
companies
other.
cap it at 6% in terms of the match.
It's not a match. It's not.
How much are we matching?
We don't match.
It's not a match.
We contribute if they want to contribute. They can contribute. They can contribute $1 a pay period, or up to the IRS limit of $19,500. Yeah.
So the money was
It's a better
budgeted.
plan.
It's a better plan.
And they have different vehicles they can put the money in.
Well,
Well, we covered this before,
yes,
we all agreed
and we are
before.
contributing 3%. But
So-
Emily cannot be.
I know. But in this new plan,
In this new plan, y'all can contribute whatever, but we don't have, the employee doesn't. Say you do 10% and Emily decides she wants to do 5%, she can do that. It doesn't have to be a match.
Didn't you say previously that the high school's using this plan, or?
The high school they have like state retirement, but David does have, he has a 401k. I don't know if it's the 457 or not, but
Well,
it's
we had covered this previously.
Yeah.
We have.
This is a resolution that we have to pass to start the process of, or continue the process of opening the accounts.
Yes,
With
we
the
can't
457.
go any further with opening the accounts until we,
And was this resolution written by Bo Carpenter?
no, this resolution was written by
The state.
Yep.
The state? Okay.
So, is there enough discussion? Can I get a motion to vote on this board resolution for this?
I'll make,
Okay, go
take
ahead.
a motion.
Thank you for that. Is there a second?
I second.
Do we have a vote? Aye.
Aye.
reluctantly, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, that will be done. All right, now, number 5 under new business, the Southwest Commission report. Diane, that's for you with us, please.
At our September 26th commission meeting, we had Katie Tiger and someone else who works with the Cherokee Boys Club. They have recently taken delivery of the first electric school bus, and they're expecting 5 more buses, and this is pretty exciting. I think Chief Sneed got to drive it in a drag race against the diesel bus. And they won.
Who has it?
It is the Cherokee Boys Club, but it is the school, one of the school buses. So they are working on, right now, They'll be taking 5 more buses, I think, in December, and they've applied for 14 buses. This first bus was all on a grant. This was $343,000 bus. And then the fast charger was $40,000, but they were able to get this with a grant. So I don't know of the additional buses, if they are budgeting for this to pay, or if they've also given a grant for that. But Connie Orr was asking some questions, so we may be able to have some Graham County electric buses in the future. Of course, everybody probably knows that the Corridor K will be starting construction very shortly. They'll do the first section will be from Midtown out to Beach, is that Beach Creek? Up to Beach Creek. It'll be done in 3 different sections. They've had bids for both the first and the second have been accepted. I think they've opened, or will shortly open, for the third section. So, but let's see, the state has been pulling back some funding on roads, and fortunately for us in our western North Carolina, Graham County has 2 roads or 2 projects that have already been totally funded, so they are scheduled. We have an upgrade on 143 from Buffalo Creek to 143 Business. And that should start in 2025 and complete 2028. And then we also have North Carolina 28 upgrades from the Little Tennessee River. I guess is that the dam, Little Tennessee River, to Fontana Village. So that should start 2027 through 2029. There are also a number of repaving projects that are staggered throughout western North Carolina, and Graham County has some of those repaving projects are in the works. I guess what they will be doing for 143 and 28 upgrades, so they'll probably be working on drainage and widening the roads. So that's, and it'd be nice to have Corridor K finished one of these days.
It'll take years.
It's a long time away. Yeah. All right, thank you, Rachel. I had one more that I just got in the mail. There's a 2023 Year of the Trail, and all cities, towns, and counties, October 20th or the 25th. There's a virtual info session from 12 to 1 o'clock. Learn how to work with Great Trail State Coalition to bring Year of the Trail and more trail funding to your area. So there's some going to greattrailstatecoalition.org to get more information, or greattrailsnc.com
Did you
for
serve as the
registration.
council members?
Okay. I imagine this is probably more of a state or a county thing since they've been involved in the trails.
Is there walking trails? Hiking trails?
Yeah. Well, you know, we've got mountains to the sea, and locally we have the Santeetlah Trail.
I've never been on a walk on a trail.
I don't count the woods stuff. 20 Mile Creek is a really easy one that just about anybody can do. So
Maybe
that
someday.
gets you in this. Or the one there at 50 along the
The Yellow
river.
Creek is beautiful, that's right here.
It's beautiful, and the elk are out
The
there.
Appalachian Trail, we can,
I don't
6
walk-
months and walking
I
around.
don't walk many places.
That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Okay, so now discussion items.
Yeah.
Right away, yeah. Somebody would have to carry me the rest of the way. All right, thank you, Diane. Discussion item, boil water notice. Okay, this was important. If you put on the screen the break down on Santeetlah Terrace for me, please. And this will explain, and then Scott's going to give us some more information on this.
Yeah, they're not showing up on
Okay.
I don't know why, when I scanned them in.
All right.
I didn't realize it
They were
until just
black
now.
pictures and stuff.
Oh,
That's what I
It was
have.
dark.
Oh, so you can see
Yours is a
it,
little
but
fuzzy.
I can't see it.
Okay, so what we had was, we had a water break down on Santeetlah Terrace, and it started out as a little dribble alongside of the road, and before we knew it, we had found out there's this 6-inch pipe had fractured under the road. So Scott came out and started digging, and between Scott and they were managed to find, and I wish you could see the pictures because it's amazing, underneath the rock that they found, underneath this pipe. You can see in the pictures that she has on her computer. I apologize to you for not
Here, I'll tell
seeing
you
it.
what, Diana, share them.
Oh, gosh.
Are you into,
Well, they're
you're
really
not.
bad.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was we had this big pipe break, and so it's been fixed, and the road has been repaired back to the way it was. But according to North Carolina law, I believe we needed to put a boil water notice out. The pipe had fractured, and I was afraid that bacteria could have traveled. And now Scott was able to get more information from somebody, an expert on this, and if you want to tell us what you found out about the boil water.
Yeah, so I'm lining up a meeting with Tony from CERCAP. It's a state, I can't remember what CERCAP stands for, but it's like it's a state thing where they help out small communities, small towns with water issues and such. So he's a very knowledgeable guy. I met him at he was here, not with the company, but when they did the demo of the lawnmower. But he had offered to me when I met him, because that was the first time I had met him. I think Eric maybe had met him prior, or maybe the guy who was in his position before. But anyway, long story short, he had offered that anytime I needed help or whatever, trying to figure stuff out, that he's a resource. So I've reached out to him to try to figure out an overall plan for up top, how we can go about that, what's the best way.
Here it is.
And in the midst of that, he mentioned
There we go.
that anytime your water system goes below 20 psi, which is every time the power goes out up top, it doesn't go down 20 psi for everyone, but it does up top. Every time that happens, you have to have a boil water notice go out. So he gave me the resources. It's called DEQ. It's like 1,000 pages. I like to read, but not that kind of stuff. But I've started to try to go through that to try to figure out like who's liable, who needs to do. Anyway, just try to figure out to get us up to speed. And when I meet with Tony, he'll be probably more help than all those papers. But so anyway, so there is more to this water boil notice, like state regulations. This isn't just. And so hopefully we'll get to figuring out exactly what is required of us and get up to speed on that. But it seems that anytime that power goes out, then you have to have a boil water notice go out to everybody. Doesn't mean everybody has to do it, but it needs to go out to everybody. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask for Kim and Emily if we have a water.
And for sure, anytime there's a break, same thing. Anytime, like you could see that water, you can't keep it out of the pipe. See that?
Yeah.
It's impossible. So, and you normally that is even fuller. I mean, we probably had drained it. So I mean, we have a pump there, and so normally it's up to like my waist there, and we drain it down until we can work on it. So obviously things are getting into the system. Now that was down in Santeetlah Terrace, so like logically, could that get up to Jim's house? I mean, probably not, but the state doesn't, they're not gonna, I won't say use common sense, I'll just say, they're gonna have a regulation to cover everything, so.
So we do need to put a boil water notice out if we have any disturbance in our water system.
Any break or
Any break
PSI
or
droppage.
drops.
Could I give the story on that leak?
Oh, another one, wasn't it?
Yeah, all right, go ahead, I guess.
The bubbling started on the side of the road, on the side of the asphalt. So we started digging there and then worked over. The actual leak was almost on the opposite side of the road completely. We found the first one, again, rock underneath it, so it had a split about that big. We repaired that, turned the water back on. There was another leak further down the line, so we started working our way. Sure enough, we found another rock and another 6 to 8 inch split. So it's, like I said, it all goes back to when they put the system in. But we were absolutely 100% lucky that we came. I mean, we dug right up on the first leak. We were patting ourselves on the back, and we thought it was going to be easy, so we turned it back on again.
I want to make a comment if you don't mind. I've just seen a message come up, and the reason that we try to keep everyone muted is because we can hear background noise. So if there's anything going on, like around you, we hear that, and everybody else does too. So I have muted some people during the meeting, and it's not any one person. I'm not picking on anybody, but we can't hear any background noise. If you're making any noise, everyone hears it. So that's why we mute, try to keep everybody muted so that everybody can hear.
Thank you for John's working. All righty, yeah, no, that was quite the project, and I want to extend my grateful thank yous to Scott coming out and working on that leak. That was a big project, and it went on for 2 days. It was all day on that Saturday afternoon. He had his machine out there, and he had been in Asheville, so we had to call him. He was out by that afternoon, so thank you. And then Sunday morning, he was back in that hole again, and starting to dig that out again.
And luckily, I was able to come and get the key, and I turned the valve off at the top, so that stopped the split from continuing to get bigger and all of that. So it was a good thing that I learned a few things about the valves up here.
Yeah, we're working on the system of fixing things, and thank you again for being out there and working on that.
And could I say
Thank
one
you,
more
Jim.
thing? I think, this is my opinion, but I think the town needs to make a policy that anytime that he's working on a water leak, there needs to be a second person there. Whether it's somebody that volunteers and signs a release, or it has to be paid, it is a huge safety issue. And it just can't be done by one person. So just for the town to consider making a policy.
That could have been a cave-in with you down there.
Well, it was all cut away, I don't know about that.
In the end, there was about a 10-foot section that had to be put in.
Yes.
And with connectors on both ends and stuff, one person can't do it.
It's a 2 or 3 person job. If we didn't have Scott and Jack out there working on this that weekend, it would have been a $10,000 and $15,000 plumbing job if we had to hire somebody to come in. So, thank you guys for chipping in and working on that. The next thing is the report from the cleanup, the lake cleanup on September 24th. Here's a couple of pictures. Ralph, thank you. Oh, he's in the restroom. He took his boat out. We delivered food, and Emily's mom was the one that made the food, but we got all the credit because we handed it out to 100 people, and then we had a ball. It was a beautiful day. The lake was cleaned up. There was dumpsters and dumpsters. I think there was even more than the couple of dumpsters that we thought.
Delivered 150 of those things.
150 lunches were delivered to all the people. There he is, yeah. So when he comes back out, we'll thank him for taking part in that and using his boat. Let's see. The winter preparation. What I'm doing is I'm putting this out there because winter is coming. I want us to be prepared. I'm asking for us to kind of keep the sides of the roads clear of commercial vehicles and different cranes and different things like that, so that when Scott goes to clear the roads, He has no safety issues, he won't run into something if we have snow or ice on the ground. I've asked Kim to look into getting the salt we might need, she didn't think it'd be a problem. Winter tires and chains and things, preparation, I'm just looking ahead at winter, let's get this figured out. If we need to get anything for your safety, you let us know. The next thing with the Graham County property reevaluation, in last Grand Star newspaper, there was a little square article, I think you have it, to put up from the newspaper.
Yeah, for some reason, when I scanned those in, the last one.
It didn't work? Okay. Well, in the back of the newspaper, probably towards the back of the newspaper, there's a little square advertisement that Graham County now has, you can go down to Brandy at the property appraiser's office, and you can get an update on what your property is being assessed at. You get a copy of your new assessment and a little drawing.
It's also within the time frame that you're allowed to challenge.
Exactly, yeah, so there's information in there, I don't know their details exactly, but look into it if you want to.
It doesn't say much.
You have it.
I don't know why. Y'all got it, I scanned it in.
Okay, but hopefully, I wish I could go up there because it's important.
It's open to public examination in the Graham County Assessor's Office.
Right. So I'm just putting that out for
If
people
you
just
need
to be aware.
to appeal within 30 days of your date of notice, but I don't think we're getting our notices until January or February.
No, we're not,
I think
but this is
this
just,
is where.
right.
Yeah.
But this was just put out in the newspaper and I wanted everybody to be aware of it. Because we've already gone down, I've already looked at my properties to see what's going on. And Bo, thank you. I see he sent us a new copy of this agreement too for the water machine. And let me just go down to the 2.07. Lake Santeetlah agrees to pay Robbinsville the rate of $250 per week for 4 weeks at 1 week per month, plus a salary of $35 an hour to be paid to Robbinsville, not by Robbinsville. That needs to be. Okay. Which both parties understand may be increased, otherwise amended from time to time, and impact the amount paid by Lake Santeetlah under this agreement. So that's good. Thank you. So I guess that's about it. Do we have a final comment?
I have one comment. All the leaves are starting to fall.
I know.
Lots of poplar leaves. Last year, those leaf guys got out here a little early and cleared everything, and then we just had a big dump of leaves. So I'm hoping that they can schedule, not at the 1st of November, but maybe a couple more weeks, mid-November.
We'll try to watch it.
Yeah.
If it rains or we get a storm, it brings a lot of them down.
Yeah.
So,
We had a big windstorm here this last couple days, and it just blew everything off the trees. So it's
we'll try to plan that.
Yeah, because they do come and pick it up a couple times, but
Yes.
it'd be nice that they pick up a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, does anybody else have anything for final public comment?
Oh,
Yes, I do.
Thank you, go ahead. Who is
I would, Ralph Strunk, I would like to suggest that you put a sign at the entrance saying 30-minute parking limit. Because we have trailers, trucks, and boats parked there for extended periods of time.
Are you talking about at the front entrance or a different?
front entrance.
The front entrance, yes.
There have been a lot of trucks and stuff parked there lately.
Well, that's the overflow parking for the town, and it's always been documented as that. So,
That's overflow is the side street.
no, it isn't.
Coming in.
No, it isn't. That's not true. That was never put into place. Overflow parking is the front entrance that we just had redone.
Well, there should be parking for 4 cars, and there's been one black truck there.
Is it a worker maybe that's working or?
It might have been over the weekend when there was extra people in town, company and such. with all the rentals that come in, they pull in a bunch of people and they park all over.
Oh, question. There seems to be some wires on Cherokee laying in the road. Is that Zito?
That's the
Are they
phone
power
company.
lines?
Telephone.
That's phone.
Phone company.
And they're-
Frontier?
Yeah.
Are they gonna pick them up or are they just leave it?
There's a
there?
ticket that's been there since last week, so.
And I know Andy Owens reported it again today.
Okay.
They know about it. All right, so next,
If anyone else knows.
does anybody else have comments? Okay, shall I move on? The announcements, next regular scheduled council meeting will be held November 10th, 2022 at 5:30 in person and Zoom. And also to, just a reminder again, this is where I was going to say it, October 24th and 25th, Town Hall will be closed for training. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I
Thank you. Everybody vote.
Aye.
Aye. We are done. Thank you, everyone.